Hello and welcome to this video. My name is Smári. In this one we will learn all about forks. And no, I don't mean that thing that you use to eat your food with. This is something else entirely. Let's have a look. A fork is when one piece attacks two or more enemy pieces. A fork is a double attack. Knights are very good at forking, but actually all pieces can fork. In the picture, the knight is attacking the king and the rook. It's a fork. LP and MVP. Now what is that? LP is a loose piece or an unprotected piece, and MVP is a more valuable piece. So look at this picture here. All the pieces that are marked in red color are loose or unprotected. And all the pieces marked in green, they are the opposite. They are protected. If you take a protected piece, your piece can get taken or recaptured. So when you go after a protected piece, check if that piece is more valuable or less valuable than the piece that you're using. And kings cannot be taken. They can only be checkmated. And now let's look at the value of the pieces. We say that the king is worth the whole game and he is the most valuable piece. The queen is the second most valuable piece at 9 points. And then comes the rook at 5 points, bishop and knight 3 points, and finally the pawn is the least valuable piece at only 1 point. We do forks to win material. To find forks, look for either loose pieces or more valuable pieces to attack or threaten. Also look for checks. For it to be a fork, it has to win material. For example, a pawn can fork anything bigger than itself because everything is more valuable than a pawn. But a queen attacking two protected pawns, that is not a fork, since taking them would cost you your queen. Think LP and MVP when looking for forks. Now let's see some forks in action. So we're going over to the chessboard here and we're going to be white and we're going to do a knight fork. Black has a king and a queen and the knight can attack both of them. How will the knight do that? What square will he go to? And the answer is knight d5 check. So if you're in check, you always have to get out of the check. And in this case, black will have to move the king somewhere. When black moves the king, we will simply take the queen. So king here, for example, then we just take the queen. And that's why we did the fork. We did it to win the queen. Also, if you're attacking a king and a queen, that's called a royal fork because we're attacking the royal couple. I will now show you how all the other pieces can also do forks, even though knights are the superstars of the fork. So let's have a look at a pawn fork here. Black to move and do a pawn fork. Which black pawn can fork two white pieces? So look for the two white pieces that you might be able to attack with a pawn. The answer is b5. This move attacks both the bishop and the knight, and white cannot avoid losing some material. If he takes our pawn, we recapture like this, and we get a bishop for a pawn. We gain actually 2 points because the bishop is 3 and the pawn is 1 that we lost. So 3 minus 1 is 2 points gained for black. If white goes here, we take the knight now. So like this, they can take the pawn, but we gain 2 points again, just like before. If they move the knight here, we just take the bishop. If they move the knight here, that's a check, but we can actually take that knight. So we always gain some material. And also, just in case you were wondering, if you were thinking about this move here, d5, it kind of looks like a fork because we're attacking the knights and the pawn on e4. But it's actually not a fork because remember, a fork has to win material. White can now either move the knight out of the way or he can take. And if you take like this, you've only traded pawns, so you actually didn't gain any points. Okay, bishop fork. White to move into a bishop fork. Which white bishop, the one on b3 or the one on c1, can now win material? So this will actually be a case of attacking two loose pieces. Do you see any loose black pieces that a bishop can attack? The answer is bishop d5, attacking both of the knights. They're both unprotected, and black cannot move both of them at the same time. Whichever one he doesn't move, that's a knight that is going to fall. So black should actually save the one on c6, so like this. White takes that one and is very happy because he got a piece for free. But if black tries to save this one, white will be even happier, because now when we take the knight on c6, we do a second fork. So now we're actually forking the king and the rook, and this will actually win the rook also. Okay, knight fork. White to move into a knight fork. See the knight on d4? What can he attack? Can you find two black pieces for him to attack? And the answer is the knight goes to c6 and forks both of the rooks here. This will win one of the rooks. So let's say that black plays rook a to b7. Now we take the rook on e7, and if black recaptures, white is still happy because white actually gained 2 points. Why 2 points, you might ask? Because the rook is worth 5 and the knight is worth 3. So 5 minus 3, 2 points gained for white. And of course, if he moves this rook, then the same thing happens. We take a rook and gain 2 points again. All right, white to play and do a rook fork. So white has a rook on c2. Do you see any black pieces that he can attack? So the answer is rook to c6. This attacks both the knight and the bishop. So we have a fork here, and black cannot save both of these pieces. If he moves the bishop, we take the knight. So like that. If he moves the knight, we take the bishop. So we always win something. And that's why we recommend having the pieces as much protected as you can, because that avoids running into forks. So imagine if only one of these pieces had been protected, then the loose piece could be moved and then black wouldn't lose any material. So keep your pieces protected. All right, queen fork. White to move. Do you see that white queen on d1? Where will she go? Now try to find two black pieces that this white queen can attack. So I'll give you some hints. One of these pieces will be a loose piece. The other one will be a more valuable piece. What is more valuable than a queen? It's only the king that is more valuable. So now you know that this will be a check. Where will this queen go to deliver a check against this king? If you can find that square, now figure out which piece are you also attacking. So let's see how this will go. Queen h5 is check, but it's also attacking the loose bishop on c5. This will pick up the bishop. So black has to get out of the check. So like this, for example, and now we just take the loose piece. So like that. And now a king fork. White to move. What can this king here do? He can actually attack two black pieces. Do you see how? So white plays king f5, attacking both the rook and the knight. Black simply cannot save both of these pieces. He can move one of them out of the danger, but then the other one can be taken. King forks aren't very common in chess, but every once in a while they do happen though. And now finally a family fork. So normally when we do forks, we're attacking two pieces, but when you do a family fork, that's when you're attacking three pieces, or technically you could be attacking more than three pieces, but that's not very common. But sometimes we do attack three pieces and then we call it a family fork. So black to move. What piece is really well placed that black has in the center? And the answer is it's the knight on d4. He's really well placed. He's in a position to do a family fork actually. Where will he go and attack three white pieces? So the answer is knight takes c2 check. this is a really strong move because this knight is now attacking mommy, daddy, and big brother all at the same time. So when daddy's in check, he has to get out of the check. So let's say that white moves his king to e2. Now we can choose, do we want to take mommy or big brother? If we take the rook on a1, that's a big brother, then we gain 5 points, but we might actually gain less because the knight is now deep in the enemy camp and has to get out alive, and he might not actually make it out alive, so we might actually gain less than 5 points. If we take the queen, mommy, how many points do we then gain? So we take the queen, they can take our knight, and we gained 6 points. So 9 for the queen and 3 for the knight. 9 minus 3, 6 points gained. So that's why we should take the queen here. Alright, so those are all of my examples that I have in this video for forks. I hope you enjoyed watching, and good luck with your forks in your own games. They will help you win a lot of games, and they are a lot of fun to do. So go and do forks in your games. Thank you very much for watching this video, and see you in the next one. Bye bye.